Welcome back to Money Talks, the podcast where we break down personal finance and wealth building strategies in a way that's relatable and easy to understand. I'm Alex.
And I'm Sam. Today, we're diving into a book that has transformed how millions of people think about money, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. But before we jump in, here's a quick disclaimer. This podcast is for educational purposes only. We are not financial advisors, and the insights we share are based on our interpretations of the book. Always do your own research or consult a professional before making financial decisions.
Absolutely, Sam. Now, about the book, it's packed with so many gems. Where do we even start?
Let's start with the foundation. The book is based on Robert Kiyosaki's experiences growing up with two father figures. His biological dad, or poor dad, was highly educated and worked hard as a government employee. Then there's his best friend's dad, the rich dad, who was a self-made entrepreneur with little formal education. These two men had completely opposite philosophies about money.
Right. And Kiyosaki uses their stories to contrast two mindsets, the traditional mindset most of us are taught versus the entrepreneurial mindset that builds wealth. So let's talk themes. What stood out to you?
Oh, where to begin? One of the biggest takeaways is the importance of financial education. Poor dad believed that success came from going to school, getting good grades, and landing a secure job. But rich dad taught Kiyosaki that financial literacy, understanding how money works, is what truly builds wealth. It's not about how much you earn, it's about what you do with it.
Exactly. And that leads us to the famous lesson on assets versus liabilities. Rich Dad defined assets as things that put money in your pocket, like rental properties, stocks, or businesses. Liabilities, on the other hand, are things that take money out, like a car loan or a mortgage on your home. Most people think they're building wealth when they buy a house, but if that house doesn't generate income, it's a liability.
That blew my mind the first time I read it. Kiyosaki says the rich focus on buying assets that generate passive income, while the poor and middle class accumulate liabilities, thinking they're assets. Let's break it down with some stories. Remember the anecdote about Kiyosaki working for Rich Dad as a kid? He was paid next to nothing, but that was intentional. Rich Dad wanted to teach him the difference between working for money and making money work for you.
Oh, that's such a good one. Rich Dad showed him that most people work hard, get their paycheck, and spend it on things like bills, entertainment, or gadgets. But if you learn to invest in assets, you can eventually live off the income they generate. It's about escaping what he calls the rat race.
Speaking of the rat race, I love the analogy about Monopoly. For greenhouses, one red hotel. Rich Dad used it to explain how small investments, like rental properties, can snowball into larger opportunities. Simple but powerful.
Another great story is about taxes. Rich Dad taught Kiyosaki how the wealthy use corporations and tax strategies to protect their money. Poor Dad, on the other hand, worked a government job and paid higher taxes because he relied solely on earned income. It's a stark contrast.
Let's talk actionable advice. What can our listeners do today to apply these lessons?
First, focus on building assets. Start small. Maybe it's investing in stocks, buying a rental property, or even creating intellectual property like an online course or a book. The key is to prioritize assets over liabilities.
And don't forget about financial literacy. Make it a habit to learn about investing, markets, and money management. There are so many free resources out there, books, podcasts, even YouTube.
Here's another one, mind your own business. Rich Dad often said this. It doesn't mean quit your job tomorrow, but start building something on the side, a business, an investment portfolio, so you're not solely reliant on a paycheck.
Great point. And lastly, shift your mindset. Don't be afraid to take calculated risks. Too many people let fear stop them from exploring opportunities. Learn from failures instead of avoiding them.
So, Sam, why do you think Rich Dad Poor Dad is still so relevant today?
Oh, it's huge. With rising student debt, stagnant wages, and the gig economy, the traditional path of go to school, get a job, retire at 65 just doesn't work for everyone anymore. Kiyosaki's focus on creating multiple income streams is more important than ever.
Totally agree. And the principles apply whether you're just starting out or looking to change your financial trajectory. It's not too late to start thinking like Rich Dad.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Money Talks. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. Until next time, remember, it's not about how much money you make, but how much you keep and grow. See you soon.
Until next time, stay smart, Stay disciplined and happy investing.